There was one rule everyone knew. You do not modify your issued weapon in combat. Not the barrel. Not the sights. Not the stock. Military rifles are built to specification for a reason. They must function in mud, rain, sand, heat, and neglect. They must fire the same ammunition as every other rifle in the unit. They must be interchangeable, replaceable, predictable. And above all, they must not be altered by the men carrying them. This rule existed because armies are machines. Machines demand standardization. Standardization demands obedience. The rule was written into ordnance manuals, drilled into recruits, enforced by courts-martial. Destruction of government property in a combat zone could earn years in Leavenworth. The punishment was not theoretical. It was real. And the rule made sense on paper. In Washington, the M1 Carbine was a success story. Lightweight, handy, semi-automatic, effective to 300 yards according to the charts. A perfect weapon for radio men, scouts, officers, and anyone who needed mobility more than stopping power. In Washington, the war was numbers and tables and logistics. In the jungle, the war was different. On Bougainville in late 1943, Japanese snipers understood something American ordnance officers did not. They understood distance. They understood wind. They understood exactly how far away a Marine with an M1 carbine could not reliably kill them. And they built a siege around that knowledge. 4 days, Marines died one by one, pinned by rifles they could not answer. Regulation weapons. Regulation doctrine. Regulation death. But in November of 1943, one Marine broke the rule. He broke it with a hacksaw. And in 48 hours, he proved that doctrine could be wrong, regulations could be deadly, and sometimes the only thing standing between survival and annihilation was the willingness to cut 3 inches of steel you were never supposed to touch. Raymond Beckett is 22 years old when the war reaches Bougainville. He does not look like a hero. He is lean, quiet, almost forgettable. The kind of Marine whose name you learn only after he has done something extraordinary. He grew up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, coal country. Hard winters. Hard men. His father broke his back in the mines. His uncle ran a converted garage that doubled as a gunsmith shop. It was not a business built on new rifles and pristine parts. It was built on repair. Broken firing pins. Shot-out barrels. Warped stocks. Beckett learned early that weapons were not sacred objects. They were tools. And tools existed to do a job. If they failed at that job, you fixed them. By 12, he was fitting stocks by hand. By 16, he understood something most soldiers never would. Military specifications favor reliability in mass production, not precision. When Beckett enlists in 1942, he qualifies expert. Not because the M1 carbine fits him perfectly, but because he adapts to it. He notices everything. The length of pole is too long for snap shooting in brush. The front sight obscures too much target at distance. The barrel whips under recoil. But a private does not lecture ordnance officers. He keeps quiet. In November 1943, the 3rd Marine Division lands on Bougainville. The terrain is hell, volcanic mud, dense jungle, steep ridges. The Japanese have prepared for months. Every clearing is pre-sighted. Every trail is covered. And the snipers are positioned at 350 to 450 yards. That distance is not random. It is the dead zone. Too far for a carbine to answer reliably. Close enough for an Arisaka rifle to kill with ease. One Marine falls on November 4th. Another on the 6th. Another on the 9th. By November 12th, 11 men are dead. The company is pinned. Men refuse to move in daylight. Wounded Marines scream in the open because no one can reach them. Beckett requests a guarant. Denied. Logistics. Tables of equipment. Ammunition compatibility. The paperwork is intact. The men are not. That night, Beckett understands something with absolute clarity. No one is coming to fix this. November 12th, 2300 hours. The jungle is loud with insects. Too loud to hide mistakes. Beckett waits until the armorer goes on watch. He borrows, does not steal, a canvas tool bag, a hacksaw, a file. He crawls into a secondary fighting hole and pulls a poncho over his head to muffle the sound. He knows exactly what he is about to do. He is about to commit a crime. Conventional wisdom says a longer barrel equals better accuracy. Beckett knows better. The carbine's 18-inch barrel is built for reliability. By cutting it to 15 inches, he stiffens it, reduces harmonic whip, improves handling. Velocity will drop slightly. Accuracy will improve. He cuts. 18 minutes of grinding noise that feels like an eternity. Each stroke sounds like a flare in his ears. When the barrel falls away, the damage is irreversible. Now comes the hardest part. The crown. Without a lathe, a bad crown ruins accuracy. Beckett uses a file and his thumb, rotating by feel. 3 strokes. Rotate. 3 strokes. He is doing precision machining in the dark, guided by muscle memory from a shop half a world away. He reshapes the stock, shortens it, rounds it, removes the sharp military edges that catch on gear. Then the sights. He files the front post down 3 millimeters. Not much. Enough. By 0200 he is finished. The weapon looks wrong. Stubby. Raw. Illegal. But when he shoulders it, it fits like bone. Dawn breaks on November 15th. At 0623, a radio man stands. Crack. Dead. By 0700 the company is pinned again. Platoon Sergeant Grantham crawls to Beckett and stares at the rifle. That barrel is cut. Yes, Sergeant. That's court-martial. Yes, Sergeant. Grantham looks at a wounded Marine bleeding in the open. Can you hit him with a regulation carbine? No. With that. Maybe. Then make it count. Beckett moves to the lip of the hole. He does not look for a man. He looks for what does not belong. A shadow too dense. A break in pattern. Wind from the left, 5 miles an hour. At 400 yards, that drift is nearly a foot. He aims into empty air. 6 inches high. 10 inches left. He exhales. The trigger breaks. The report is sharper now. Louder. He cycles instantly. For seconds later, a body falls. Silence follows. Not peace. So, 19 minutes later, another shot. Beckett is already moving. Over 48 hours he kills 9 snipers. At ranges doctrine says are impossible. At distances the Japanese believed were safe. The siege collapses. The company advances. If you find this kind of forgotten history, where ingenuity saves lives, as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. These stories of courage and quiet genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing you help ensure they aren't forgotten. The moment Beckett fires that first shot, something subtle but irreversible shifts. Not in the jungle. Not in the Japanese lines. Inside the Americans. Because what just happened should not be possible. Every Marine on Bougainville knows the numbers. They've been taught them. Drilled them. Memorized them. The M1 Carbine is effective to 300 yards, on paper. 200 in reality. Beyond that, it is noise and hope. And yet a man just fell out of a tree at over 400 yards. That is not luck. Luck does not repeat. Beckett does not celebrate. He does not even look long. He reloads. Because he knows something else the others don't yet. Japanese snipers never work alone. They operate in cells. Pairs. Triads. 1 shooter. 1 observer. 1 flanker. The first man was bait. The second shot comes 21 minutes later. This one is smarter. Lower muzzle flash. Better concealment. A position that uses bamboo instead of hardwood. The round snaps past Beckett's head and smacks into a root behind him. This sniper knows exactly where Beckett is now. Beckett does not freeze. He slides sideways through the mud, low, slow, deliberate. He counts steps. 7 meters left. 2 meters forward. Angle change just enough. The Japanese sniper fires again. Same position. That tells Beckett everything. He fires 3 shots in sequence. Not aim shots. Corrections. The first round strips bark. The second punches through bamboo. The third finds flesh. A scream echoes, short, high, panicked. Then silence. 2 down. By noon, the Japanese realize something is wrong. Their snipers are being found. Not randomly. Systematically. The jungle that once protected them is betraying them. They begin to shift positions constantly. But every move leaves signs. Bent foliage. Broken twigs. Compressed moss. Beckett hunts patterns. He does not look for rifles. He looks for absence. Places where birds should be, but aren't. Places where insects go quiet. At 1440, a sniper fires from a ridge line. 467 yards. The shot should be untouchable. Beckett lies prone, elbows buried in volcanic grit. Wind has picked up. 7 miles an hour now. Quartering. The bullet drop is severe. He does the math anyway. 2 feet high. 18 inches into the wind. He fires. Nothing happens. 3 seconds pass. Then a helmet rolls down the slope. A body follows. This is no longer a firefight. This is an execution of doctrine. By nightfall, 5 snipers are dead. Japanese command realizes the perimeter has teeth now. They pull back. Regroup. Send in better men. Veterans. Men who fought on Guadalcanal. They engage in pairs, firing simultaneously. 2 shots. 2 positions. Overlapping arcs. This tactic has worked for months. Beckett hears both shots. Left. Right. He does not choose. He fires left. Cycles. Fires right. 11 seconds. 2 bodies fall. The men watching him do not speak. They stare. Because this is not training. This is something else. Something born in mud and desperation. Over the next 48 hours, 9 snipers die. Confirmed. Others retreat. The jungle quiets. For the first time in weeks, Marines stand up. They move. They advance. The siege is over. Not because command solved it. Not because supply fixed it. Because one man ignored the book. The change is immediate. Casualties drop. Movement resumes. Fear changes sides. Japanese sniper teams begin relocating constantly. They abandon pre-sighted positions. Their confidence fractures. Beckett does not become a hero. He becomes a secret. Captain Hendricks faces a dilemma. Court-martial the Marine and restore order, or let the results speak. He chooses silence. The rifle disappears from reports. The modification never happened. But the effect lingers. Unofficial lessons spread. Marines learn to think about wind. About distance. About aiming where the enemy will be, not where he is. Japanese sniper doctrine on Bougainville changes within a week. Engagement ranges shorten. Positions pull back. The siege is over. Not because of new equipment. Because one man ignored the rulebook. What they didn't know in Tokyo, or even in Washington, was that Bougainville had just exposed a flaw far larger than a sniper tactic. It exposed a doctrinal lie. The Japanese had built their sniper strategy around American assumptions. They assumed Americans would obey equipment tables. They assumed Americans would fight by regulation. They assumed weapons behaved exactly as manuals claimed. Bougainville proved that assumption fatal. Within a week, Japanese sniper engagements shortened dramatically. 300 yards. 250. 180. They move closer because distance is no longer safe. And closer means vulnerability. Mortars find them. Machine guns suppress them. Their casualty rate spikes. American movement accelerates. Terrain once locked down becomes passable. This does not show up in headlines. It appears in logistics reports. Fewer medevac requests. Fewer stalled advances. Fewer replacement requisitions. The ripple moves outward. Other Marines start questioning their weapons. Not modifying them, but understanding them. Wind calls improve. Range estimation sharpens. Fire discipline tightens. The M1 Carbine does not change. The way Marines use it does. Japanese intelligence notes the anomaly. Reports mention exceptional American marksmen. Then multiple exceptional marksmen. They never identify Beckett. They never understand the weapon. Because the truth is uncomfortable. A private with no authority broke their system. American command notices something else. Casualty curves flatten. No medals are issued. No reports filed. But a quiet understanding spreads. Sometimes the rulebook is wrong. And sometimes enforcing it kills men faster than the enemy. After the war, ordnance reviews quietly revisit carbine performance. Sight profiles change. Training manuals adjust language. Effective range descriptions soften. No footnote mentions Bougainville. No name is attached. But the shadow of that hacksaw is there. Invisible. Persistent. Because once a system is beaten by a man in a hole with a file, it never quite regains its authority. The Japanese never re-establish a sniper siege like Bougainville again. Not in the Solomons. Not in New Guinea. Not in the Philippines. They adapt, but the fear is gone. Fear had been their weapon. And fear only works when the enemy believes the rules are fixed. Raymond Beckett proved they were not. Raymond Beckett survives the war. He is wounded in 1944 and sent home. The rifle is lost. Probably scrapped. Melted into something else. Beckett returns to Pennsylvania. Fixes rifles. Raises a family. Says nothing. In 1953, a historian asks about rumors. I don't recall. In 1981, the official history mentions unauthorized but effective modifications. No names. Beckett reads it, shelves it, moves on. He dies in 1994. His obituary lists his children. His job. Not the 9 men he saved. But somewhere in a misfiled report the truth exists. That for 48 hours on Bougainville, one Marine with a hacksaw outperformed doctrine. That sometimes the difference between life and death is 3 inches of steel, and the courage to cut it. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state, and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that Raymond Beckett and the men of the 3rd Marine Division do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.